I've already played through the first part, so I'm going to skip the intro
This is the story
section.
of a man named...
But it's excellently written. Absolutely fantastically written. Very simple. Expressed with the minimum amount of words, which is always good. Depending on what you want to achieve, obviously. But this is narration, and it feels more natural if you do that.
Gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Nice choice of words as well. There's so many ways he could have said that. There's so many ways that could have been written. It's easier to take stuff for granted. Right, so if I remember correctly, this is the choice room. And last time I made
Stanley came to a
the one on the right my choice.
He entered the door on his left.
I'm going on the right again though. Then next choice, I'll be picking the one on the left, obviously.
Oh goodness, I do believe he's lost his way. Now between you and me, I don't think he stood a chance in the first place. But he's having such a grand time here in these hallways. Why should we bother him? Yes, it's all
Grand
very amusing.
time.
And we laugh and we call our friends over and they laugh too, and soon the whole world laughs and laughs and laughs at the man who failed. But of course, that isn't for you. You, sitting there. What have you gained? Do you know this man? Do you know anything about him? Oh, of course not. Now, if I could truly put you in his shoes to show you the paths he walked and the choices he made, but we both know that isn't possible. Not yet. Soon, you will be the one to walk. The controls will be in your hands. Soon, we will find out if your friends turn and laugh at you, just as they did with him. Oh, I think I'm going to enjoy this. When you find out how alone you truly are, I will be laughing more than anyone. Very soon now.
This is cool.
Ah, but there's a twist. Are you ready for it? Watch him closely, because in and amongst his aimless meandering, I think he's actually beginning to discover something. He's getting closer to an answer, an explanation, an exit. He is beginning to earn his freedom. The end is nearly here. Let's play, everyone.
An explanation,
Let's
an exit.
all play.
Right then, so we will proceed directly to the original location. As you see here. And we'll go through here.
Find out when it's time to play the game. Which for members of the internet. Those not from the internet are advised to disregard this message, and more importantly, go down to your local electronics retail outlet and get with the times already. To those whom this message concerns, good to see you. I've been off the radar a bit long, haven't I? And I know how hard this lonely period has been on you. But I'm so terribly busy working on a story that I think you'll just die for. You see, I was upset to learn that many players found the original Stanley Parable to be confusing and contradictory. A far cry from the simple story of hope and redemption I had intended it to be. So to rectify this mistake, I'm taking steps to ensure that this updated version
That sarcastic,
will be streamlined to remove
patronising
any
tone
incoherent plot lines.
fits
Expect
perfectly,
every
just
new
like it did
piece
with
of
Hitchhiker's
content
Guide to the
to
Galaxy.
seamlessly answer all the questions you may have been left with after playing the first game. It's my hope that this installment will fix the somewhat embarrassing mistakes of the original while proving definitively to the world that a video game can make you cry. And I know our mutual friend Stanley would be devastated if he were left out, which is why he's graciously volunteered to star in it once again. Or I'm sure he will anyway. But until we ask him to make that choice, I offer you this and future updates, and I remind you that one's time is better spent living than waiting. After all, with so many doors to prepare, it could be quite some time before this story is fully cooked. So, go out and be productive. Make some choices. Enjoy the hours you have left. Perhaps you could even spare a thought for Stanley, sitting there with nothing but himself and his buttons, day after day. He's been getting rather comfortable, I think, as humans tend to do when the scenery stops changing. And for the moment, we'll let him stay that way. After all, you and I both know things are about to change rather drastically. I wouldn't want to ruin the surprise for either of you. But you'll find out. You'll find out when it's time to play the game again. This is the story of a... All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here. No.
Cool
here.
or what?
And then... Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
This is extraordinary, isn't it?
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light? No, this is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all, 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game. Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it.
trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Ah, clever.
It's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte. Genius. No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're any wiser for the experience. Which is why, rather than continue to waste my time, I'm just going to leave you here. You can pretend you've beaten the game if it makes it any richer for you, but as for me, I've had enough. So, why don't you get cozy in this room, and if you have any grand revolutionary ideas for the perfect video game, you can just sit there and let it ball up inside you for all eternity. I don't need your advice. I don't need your ratings. And I certainly don't need the validation of a man whose job is to push buttons. I think I'll just go about my business, making meaningful cultural contributions to the world. And perhaps every now and then, I'll think back to a man named Stanley who was objectively wrong in every decision he ever made. The thought won't last long. Goodbye, Stanley. Good luck with your work. And I sincerely hope that everyone lives happily ever after.
So. I like the oversaturation and the grain effect, and if I'm not mistaken, also, a lot of contrast. I think it works really well. I'm not. Yeah. Now, so where do I go next? Now, I jumped to get out of that other level, so I'm assuming maybe I'd do the same again to get out of this level. Well, there's only one way of finding out. Nice. Nice, I was pointing this way, so I'm assuming this is where I go. Oh, I can go that way. And I can go this way, okay. Interesting. So we're in a maze section. Hands coming out the wall. This is just fabulous. This is fabulous, isn't it? I'm back there again, you little oik. No. So that is the only way I can go, is it? Okay. Right, so this way, but I think that's back, isn't it? Not back. Is that not back the way I came? It is, I think. That's the way I came in. Let's try a different route then. I went that way before, didn't I? Think. Yes, this is slightly different.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait. This is the story of a man.
So we'll try one more loop. I don't know how long this is, so I can't really complete it. I mean, it could go on for hours, as far as I know. So one more loop. Maybe a fourth. Right, so I'll pick the one on the left.
When Stanley came to a set of
Maybe this
doors,
time pick one on the right again.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it. At this point, Stanley's obsession with it, but at last he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Okay, so that's open, and that's open.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. Right. I guess this is where Stanley felt he needed to be right now. Here, with no distractions. Sorry, but you're in my story now. I hope you weren't expecting more regular intervals of commentary from me, but that's not why you're here, is it? You're here for the game, for the art, for the endlessly spiraling sense of pointlessness and despair. Yes, this is what drives your every action, to see it not just with his eyes, but with his heart. It's occurred to me, this game is incomplete. It's missing something. It still doesn't have that oomph. What is it, I thought to myself? What could possibly be missing from this incredible experience? And then in a moment of rapture, as though delivered by angels, it came to me. Before this moment, I was blind, but those days are behind us. I now understand the true manifestation of this game. It needs... Oh, to see that enthusiasm. It needs...
community level.
I can only imagine the joy welling up in your chest. The sheer joy of such pure distilled life essence flowing through your veins. It must be amazing. I'm jealous of you, truly I am. No, seriously. I'm deeply envious of your position at this very moment.
Nice. Nice. Next time the left door, please. That is awesome. Is that the end of the game though? Looks like it. But yeah, that's pretty damn good. I'm not sure, you see. I wonder. I've got to find out whether this is really the end or not. But I can't find anything else to hit, so I'm assuming it is. Yeah, this is cool. This is cool, and
Ah, the joy of artistic expression must be even stronger now. Drink it in, Stanley. Few people on this planet will ever get such an experience. Hold on. Promise me you won't go back there. No, wait. Never mind. How about, rather than waste my time, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay. From the top. This is the story of a...
nice. Okay, so now I've got to go do that again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
I'd be interested to see what the original was
When
like.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Right, so I'm gonna have to let the baby burn.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go.
I don't know how Stanley Parable works, so I could be looping around this forever. At some point, I have to draw a line and think, yes, I've finished.
Yes, of course. And just to
I'm not
finish
going to do
it
it just
all
yet,
off,
though.
Yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. Ah, but you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Right. So, if the next bit repeats, I'll consider that finished, I think. I don't really know how many loops there are.
It's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light? No, this is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game. Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell...
Yeah, I didn't see that before.
It's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
Yeah, go on and put it down.
Genius. No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt...
Right. Get to the next section. Yeah, it looks like very much that is the full loop. Right, so that's the way I went before. Let's have a look. I went. Which way did I go? Aha, this way, I think. No. Ah, yeah, it was this way. I went through that way. That was a wrong way. And I went this way. Just want to pick a different choice at the end. You.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. This is the story of...
I've got to just try that one on the right. I've got to try the one on the right in case it's slightly
All of his
different.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley
I wonder
looked,
how long
he
the
couldn't
original
find a
Stanley
trace of
Parable
his
is.
co-workers. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
It's slightly different, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring.
Right.
Yet at this point, Stanley's obsession with it, but at last he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
That one went that way. This one went this way. That's also straight up as.
Bad at following directions. It's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Have I been here? No, I haven't. Just how many different options are there? I'm gonna have to make this the last one because I could be here forever.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. Now,
This is
would
cool,
you
isn't
say
it?
that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of the new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail.
So I can't possibly know when this ends. So I'm going to murder the child, and then call it a day, I think.
Once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
I'm sure the YouTube algorithm will have a problem with that sentence. He said murder the child!
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes. This seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Well, Stanley, is this any better? At
Yeah.
last, the one thing you
So I'm going to call it a day there because I don't know how many times this loops, how many different settings there are. But yeah, excellent stuff. Go and follow the creator, obviously, and give this a playthrough. I always say that because the best thing is to follow the creator first and then go and see what else the creator's made. So that's how you find some of the hidden gems. But yeah, thanks for watching. This is great. See you on the next one.